So what happens? Say, I'm sure you've met some clients or something like that. आके बोलते कि say वो हैंस जिमर वाला डिग 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 वाला ट्रैक काइंड ऑफ चाहिए मुझको आके बोल देता है कि ऐसा ही चाहिए एंड फेयर इनफ दे आर स्पेंडिंग द मनी.
So, on that, I would like to say this situation where I was scoring for something, and there was a scene between this couple. One guy told me that ये जगह ना वो जा सिमरन जा जीले अपनी जिंदगी, and very emotional type music is required in this scene. While the other guy, and that was the time when Interstellar just released.
Okay.
So his idea was यहाँ पे Interstellar जैसा कुछ होनी चाहिए. What is the common point? Like if you draw a Venn diagram like that, what is the common point that this also has, that also has? तो इतना सोचने का टाइम नहीं मिलता है. You just get angry and start cussing like ये क्या आपने ये बोल ये इसने ये बोल रहा है आप ये बोल रहे हो यार क्या चल रहा है.
This is Future Sound Media with Rahi, the OG of all podcasts in the house. Available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all socials at the rate of Future Sound Media. All episodes are available on futuresoundmedia.com. Let's begin.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Future Sound Media, and today we have with us Protijyoti. Obviously, he's a music composer and producer, and we will today get to know a lot of things about his journey and what he's been up to, and maybe also get something him to play for us. Let's see. Okay, without further ado, let me quickly bring him on the show. Hi, Protijyoti. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Thanks for
Thank
asking.
you for having me on the session.
Thanks for taking out the time. We've been kind of planning this for quite a while, and dates we kept on rescheduling. So कुछ ना
Rescheduling,
कुछ
yes.
yeah हो जा रहा था, but it's good. We finally are kind of getting to connect.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how
man.
things
Happy
are
to be
going?
here.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you on the show. And I really love your studio, how it's looking. I really like the vibe. I've seen it in pictures. Abhi video pe dekh raha hu, live pe. It's really nice, man. Very very
Thank
good.
you
So
so
we'll
much.
get. You're welcome. We'll get to it. So. Protijyoti, I'll start. Okay, so for the folks, those who have been part of the Kolkata music scene, obviously they know him, specifically the band scene. So from there, I have I had heard his band and all these things. We'll be getting into that and how that from there the journey, came to where you are right now. So first of all, let me let's start from just the start. Okay, how did you start your music? Let's kind of get into that.
So, how did I start my music? I didn't start it. My
Okay.
parents started it. So they like my dad is a banker by profession, but he plays guitar and sings.
Okay.
And so kind of when he used to sing and I used to play the tabletop side of the Almira, so that kind of intrigued him to put me into playing the tabla. So I was, I guess, 5 or 6 years old or something like that.
Okay.
And he asked me that, do you want to learn this instrument tabla because your sense of rhythm kind of is nice. So he put me like, ye tabla seekho. So
Okay.
I started learning at that age, and I learned tabla for almost around 8-9 years, I guess. So that was my first instrument.
Okay.
And from then onwards, I moved into playing the keyboards, and I learned from Mr. Pratap Roy, Mr. Amit Das, and my teachers in school. So that's that. Like that is how it all started.
Okay. So how did that transition? So you started with tabla. How did that transition happen? Why you got into keyboard, and what happened?
So, huh. So once, my tabla teacher, Mr. Arun Sen,
Hmm.
he was teaching me, and eventually he was like, Abhi, he had to shift. He was uh, being in charge of a music school somewhere, and he had to uh, move his base. So he told my dad that this is gonna happen. So my
Hmm.
dad asked me like, "Is this it, or you want to continue playing the guitar?" Because I already had, because of my dad, I already had guitars, and I had a couple of keyboards at home as well because he used to
Hmm.
play all those.
Okay.
So at that age I was like, no, this guitar is a like a wooden thing with a lot of strings in it, but
Hmm.
I would like to play the keyboards because there's a lot of lights and buttons in it. It's more
Okay.
colorful and more interesting to see. It feels
Hmm.
that I can do a lot of things on those instruments rather
Hmm.
than playing a guitar.
You're right.
So I chose that, and my uh, keyboard playing journey started from there. Keyboard
Okay.
learning journey rather.
Okay. So what kind of stuff you were listening to? As you know, your keyboard influences. If we say what would be that? What kind of stuff were you listening to?
So yeah. So initially, I used to, when I was learning the keyboards, my influences like at that age was mostly Indian Hindi film music, and which came from like really old, from music from 1950s onwards. Because my mom and dad used to listen to those, they used to sing those, so that was my influence. Eventually, when I started playing for school fests and all of that, I got introduced to Western music. Western music, as in like bands. Uh, like I learned how like light listening, and slowly, I started getting into Western, listening to Western music and trying to play all of that. That happened gradually once I started playing for bands in school and all of that.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So, you mentioned bands. So, let me ask you how, was Phoenix your first band, or was there any other band before too?
No, while I was playing in school for my school band, and I guess I was in seventh or eighth standard.
Hmm.
Uh, I was playing for bands outside of my school as well. So my bandmates used to be from college,
Okay.
and I used to be from a school. So later it happened that I went for college fests, and I was still
Okay.
in school. So I had to request the, you know, the college where we were going to perform to
Hmm.
make me an ID, a special ID, so that I can play in a college fest being from school.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so all of that kind of happened. So it's a
Hmm.
gradual move
Okay.
from playing. So eventually, when I was kind of in my high school, I was
Huh.
already playing for around two, three bands, like all
Okay.
consecutively, not together, but I was like playing for one, and then
Hmm.
eventually, if the
Hmm.
band got dissolved or something, I moved
Hmm.
on to playing for another band, but mostly rock music, I would say. I was playing mostly rock music that time.
Okay. Fair enough. And at that point of time, like how did you kind of develop this? You got into audio and all this. Did you like specifically learn audio separately, or being part of a like being a keyboardist helped, because it's a bit technical and all that? How did that
Uh,
happen? Like,
no, actually, me getting into music production happened much, much later. Like,
okay.
I kind of never thought that I'll pursue this profession. So,
Hmm.
I was mostly into playing live music. So, and eventually, when I was getting deeper and deeper and deeper into playing rock music,
Hmm.
my influences changed. Like, we used to do cover songs, we used to do our own compositions, and eventually the idea was to keep playing live. But eventually, when I had to switch my base from Kolkata to
Hmm.
Mumbai,
Hmm.
I would guess I used to do a little bit of uh, you know I am a Cubase user all my
Hmm.
life,
Hmm.
so I used to play something and record myself in Cubase back in Kolkata as well. But
Hmm.
then I used to think that this is the be all and end all of music production. Like you have a band and everyone plays something and you get recorded and you get it
Hmm.
mixed and mastered and the song is out. But eventually, when I came to Mumbai and I started seeing how vast this particular profession is, how vast this
Hmm.
craft is,
Hmm.
so that got me thinking that, acha, fir, then I have to really learn and uh, like improve my craft on music production.
Okay, okay. Now, you mentioned that, you moved to Mumbai, so that came a lot after, like, we, because where we had
Yeah.
first seen Protijyoti, we saw you in this competition that had happened, Bandi Mataram,
Yes.
there with
Yes.
your band. So how
Phoenix.
did that,
Yes.
yes, Phoenix. So let's just talk a bit about that phase, regarding your band phase with Phoenix, and from that how you evolved into getting into Bombay.
See,
That huh.
this is a Phoenix.
Oh man, okay, okay, fair enough. Good, good.
Loyalty test.
Why- so I have got Krishna. Okay, I have got Krishna here written, so
Uh,
that is there. So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you were saying.
yeah. So we went for this competition with Phoenix, and we
Hmm.
did pretty well.
Hmm.
So the reason why I would say, uh, I had no idea a week before I came to
Hmm.
Mumbai that I'm going to come to
Hmm.
Mumbai. So it happened like that. And I was kind of playing live with Phoenix, and there were other bands. And then I was doing, there's this band called Cassini's Division.
Huh.
So I
Cassette.
was
So
doing, yeah. So I was doing live sound for them as well.
okay.
So what happened is basically I was trying to play live music, and then bands getting dissolved over and over and over again
Hmm.
was becoming a bit of trouble for me. So it's not only about Phoenix, but there were a couple of other bands which I was playing for as well. So
Hmm.
eventually they had their own way to take, like
Hmm.
jobs, getting married, and
Right.
like real life responsibilities came over, and
Hmm.
bands started getting dissolved. So
Right.
eventually it was bothering me a little bit because I was getting really disoriented about the fact that
Hmm.
uh, just that I want to do music and my life is depending on five other people now. So that bothered me for over 2.5 years towards the end before I left for Mumbai.
Hmm.
So that is one thing. And then one day, me and a couple of friends, we were sitting and talking about it, and there was one of this senior friend of mine who is not a musician, but uh, he is a avid listener. He is a very close friend. So he said that, see, if you want to do music, I guess you should not depend on other people for what you are going to do in the future. So why don't you give a shot? Why don't you go to Mumbai? So I was like, I am playing rock music and this live bands, and this is the world I want to be in.
Hmm.
And if I go to Bombay, that to me was Hindi film industry, which we call Bollywood. So there was a drastic difference at that point of time for me to believe that I am doing this, and I if I go there, I have to do that. So, and I did not have much idea about this unknown space. I used to listen to a lot of Songs, Bollywood songs, but I had no idea how to go about it. So then I thought of giving it a shot. I spoke to my dad that since I'm not doing much here, not getting to do much here, I'm thinking of
Hmm.
going to Mumbai. And he was like, yeah, of course, please give it a shot and see.
Wow.
So that was 2009, 27th of March.
Okay.
We took this decision. Like we had a chat, friends. Then I went to my father, asked him, should I do this? He said yes. That was 27th of March. And 6th of April, 2009, the same year, like like a week, I was in Mumbai forever.
Okay. You completely
So
shifted at that point of time.
completely, like initially it was not completely. Initially it was like a
Mhm.
suitcase and
Mhm.
my keyboard case. That's it.
Right. Right.
So that is how that is how it happened. So uh, my mom came with me initially. So my one of my elder cousin brothers used to stay in Mumbai.
Mhm.
We put up at his place, and then 10 days later, I went back to Calcutta to drop my mom, and then I came back again the next day.
Okay.
So somehow I felt that this is it. There was no work, there was nothing. But I
Mhm.
came to Mumbai. I started like calling up people, going here and there, looking for work. But somehow the whole vibe of being here
Mhm.
in those 10 days kind of um, like I was I don't know what I felt, but I was sure from inside that this is it. This is where I want to be. And mm, I mean, I have to do something on my own here. That was the
Mhm.
first thought.
Oh man. No, I'll ask you. I'll tell you one thing. Ask and tell both. I don't know what should be the correct word. That is, when did you decide like completely? So you were at that point of time. What age you were at? I think 2009. So most probably
I
in
was
your
22 and
early,
a half types.
early 20s, right? So at
Hmm.
early 20s, you decided you're going to do full time music, and you shifted to Bombay.
That I
That
did
clarity.
much prior to that. That I did like full time music. I decided much prior to that because my 10 plus 2 was science. So what happens is because of shows and because of music and because of a lot of other things, I was not being able to concentrate on studies a lot. So while my ISC was on, I was doing shows.
Okay.
So that was like shocking and bothering for for my parents and
Right.
my
Right.
classmates as well. Like, what are
Hmm.
you doing? Like,
Hmm.
day after
Correct.
tomorrow is maths exam for your ISC. How come? With what kind of a mind are you prepared to go for a show tonight? So it was like
Hmm.
that. But I knew I want to do this, and some way or the other, it led me to like I just chose, and then the path was I don't know. I just kind of flowed into that path.
Oh, that's great.
So post my high school, post 12th, I thought of not studying any further,
Okay.
and I told my dad that I need a keyboard because this is what I'm going to do, and if I have to do it professionally, my gears have to be professional. So if you could buy me a
Hmm.
keyboard, that will be great. So
Hmm.
initially, he was like, all my friends are, like kind of going for joint entrances and
Uh,
AI and all of those IIT, IIM stuff was happening. And it was, I totally understand how it might be disheartening and at the same time scary. And, like for parents to see their child going into the road of uncertainty is it's scary for them. I understand that. But he
hmm.
bought me a keyboard and he sat me and we had a chat like what all needs to be done. If you kind of. My parents are very cool that way.
Hmm.
Like they supported me. They supported me. So that is how it happened. So post 12th only, when I was like 18, 19, I
That
took
takes
the
great
decision that
time.
yeah, this is where
Wow.
this is what I want to do.
Wow, man, that's the you should have that support from your family. That is very important. That support is
Very
very
important.
important. Like even at this age, I myself freak out. Like this is something I never could not do myself. It's not even from me. I am like myself very scared of this. Like I wasn't. You said you had gone to Bombay. Without any plan. I had gone to Bombay with obviously I knew people there. I worked for a while, but then anyways, we'll talk on that offline. That's later, but really great. And so Bombay. So you come to Bombay. You start. So what was the first work you got in Bombay?
First work, I started working with a composer. I don't want to name him. So I started working with a composer, and I was doing score for TV serials.
Okay.
So that's how it all started. That there is to be episodes coming every morning, and like half an hour episodes, and which is like with ads and everything, commercials. It comes around 23 minutes for one episode. So it is to reach us right in the morning around 8:30, and the whole day we used to score that and send it over to the channel for approval. So that
Oh,
is what I was doing initially.
okay. Okay. One thing, Prati, so you set up your studio then, or like how long it took to, kind of set
It
up your studio and everything?
very long, very long. So now I think my 15th year is running in Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me very long, but that was a dream that I couldn't let go of. Like I never wanted to be a keyboard player in Mumbai. So that was again a very difficult choice because when I came to Mumbai, there were a lot of opportunities to play live, but
Mm-hmm.
somehow I was a little scared, uh, knowing that it's a new city, and if I try and get into doing the same thing that I was doing in Kolkata,
Mm-hmm.
then what have I changed about myself?
Right.
So yeah, so I thought that even if it takes a lot of time or some time, I didn't know how it's gonna be, but I was sure that I don't want to get into the live music scene again because then I'm
Okay.
doing the same things that I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do something which I can do myself. Like I got into compositional work, I got into music production, and all of that, where I can sit. Of course, you have to have musicians for sessions and all, but
Mm-hmm.
then it's not dependency. Like you are doing your own thing, kind of a space.
Right. Right. No, because as a producer, you have to produce, like, anyways, when you are getting a, like, when you are even getting a, say, a song request from someone, they are giving you a, say, whatever a description aisa karna hai. So within, most probably, ideally within a day or two, you send them a scratch or something. Now there, if you have to call
Right.
every musician together, so as a
Correct.
producer, you need to be, play all the genres,
Absolutely.
understand all the VSTs. Talking about VSTs
Absolutely.
and all, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I and since your studio is there, if you could say what is the setup, what is the setup you have there, just technicalities of the setup. I see Cubase is running, a lot
Yeah.
of synths are there. So
Yeah.
thoda sa if you could, and what's the name of the studio also?
There's no name as
Okay,
such.
okay,
Uh, I just
just
work from here.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. So, what are the synths that you have? If you could show and if you could hear something, live, also.
Yeah, I have quite a few, but mm like I have the Korg Volcas, I
Okay.
have an Arturia. I have these analog Behringers. I
Okay.
really like these, by the way. The
Okay.
company Behringer, there was a point of time I used to avoid using a
Hmm.
Behringer product, but
Hmm.
eventually, if a company that improved this much,
Hmm.
I would say it's Behringer, and their analog synths are fantastic. I
Okay.
have two of them. I have a Neutron, I have a Crave, and I love using them. I have a Novasion Ultranova also. I have a I have an Access Virus also, which is in the other room now. So mostly these kind of things, and like Daniel B. George and my studio is at the same place, so
Hmm.
he also has a lot of synths. So we kind
Hmm.
of keep sharing those
Oh
synths
man.
whenever we need them for work.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So could you please play something on this if we could hear something?
Like this one is connected as of now. I can just
Okay.
play you
Yeah. Just
something.
let's. Yeah.
So you can keep changing the sounds from here,
Hmm.
and then there is this one also.
Huh.
So mostly like this. So that is the sound of that, and
Okay.
the neutron.
Okay.
So this one I have an arpeggiator set, so I don't
Okay.
have to play it. So I can look this side.
Okay.
So these kind of sounds mostly,
Hmm.
like we use it a lot on film scoring. While
Okay.
film scoring, this is
Okay.
these kind of sounds come of use a lot.
Nice. No, because see, I'll tell you, Europe. I am huge kind of fan of synths and all that. And when I kind of produce, I use Massive and obviously Logic's Alchemy, like the bass thing. But
Right.
these are obviously these are analog stuff. This is more fun. You can kind of, uh, you know,
Correct. It's basically the knobs, the ADSRs, the
ha,
cutoffs, filters, whatever is
yeah,
there, which you have to do
ha,
with a mouse, you
ha.
get physical. And of course, the
No, this
sound
is
is
no. So I've got a Novation launch key here, launch key 61. You can do it with the knobs. Also, I've got the
right, right. You
complete.
can just assign
Uh,
them and yeah.
I've got the complete ये वाला 69 कौन सा ये envoy complete 49 वाला वो भी है. So
Okay.
I really talking about that. Let's talk about the software. So you're using Cubase, and what kind of VSTs are you using? Like what
So
are
for
you
my
using?
analogs, all
Hmm.
my analogs go into this. It's kind of a preamp
Okay.
compressor, and it has got two attitude. It's thermionic culture. It's called the rooster. So
Okay. Okay.
it's basically a preamp, compressor, EQ, all in
Okay.
one kind of. It's a stereo dual channel.
Okay.
So all my synths go into that.
Hmm.
Then from there it goes into my interface, and it gets recorded in the DAW Cubase. So I'm
Okay.
creating a MIDI channel. I'm sending
Okay.
that MIDI notes via USB, or I have a multimedia device
Hmm.
to the synths. So whichever
And then
synth I'm using, I sent
tell me,
the
tell me.
particular MIDI to that particular synth, and then it has that same uh, signal chain. goes to that preamp, goes to the interface, and gets recorded back into the DAW.
Okay, fair enough. So it gets recorded as an audio signal, right, in the DAW?
Yes. So
Okay.
from the DAW, MIDI is getting sent out. MIDI signal is getting
Mm-hmm.
sent out to a
Mm-hmm.
particular synth, and
Mm-hmm.
through it's going through the signal chain, coming back to the DAW and getting recorded.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. And what audio interface that are you using?
I am using an Audient ID44.
Okay. Fair enough. And those are Adams, right? I think the
Those are
speakers.
Adam A8Hs. They are
Okay.
brand new. It's not even a year old.
Okay. And you have a small speaker I can see uske upar. What is that? The red one?
That is something that I made myself.
Okay.
So
Okay.
uh,
Are those tweeters or what are they for? Like
no,
specific?
they are full range speakers. So
Okay.
what happens? It's a sealed box. So there are
Okay.
no ports like a base port
Okay.
that you have. There are no
Okay.
ports. It's a sealed box. I got inspired from these. There's this company called Aventone.
Okay.
So Aventone has these speakers called mix cubes. They are sealed boxes and they have a
Mm-hmm.
full range speaker. So
Okay.
when I'm doing vocal work, like compressing a vocal or maybe tuning a vocal or doing something like that,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to go for those because the vocal range, the mids and high mids are very clear on those. So I
Mm-hmm.
can concentrate on that particular sound a lot while doing that. And then I come back to my Adams. Adams are like I can switch from inside my DAW.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
choose either my Adams or uh, those ones. Like I would say it was kind of a thing that I had at that moment. I started building speakers, like passive speakers,
Mm-hmm.
but I built a few. Like this is a full range one. I built a three-way passive speaker as well.
Mm-hmm.
So couple of years I was doing that also, like a pastime thing, like therapeutic
Wow.
stuff.
Wow, man. Good stuff. And I also wanted to know some more things like this is how your signal chain and everything is there. What are your
Mm.
kind of favorite go-to kind of VSTs that you use? Like any for obviously say for a string sound, what you use? What kind of VSTs do you use generally?
See,
Strings. Mm-hmm.
orchestral music, which kind of is my zone, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of you know big epic sounding orchestral stuff I
Mm-hmm.
score. So for that, the main thing that I use is Contact.
Yeah.
So there are libraries in Contact, and I tend to use those. Like there are for string sections. So I've got a template set for those kind of
Mm-hmm.
scores where I have like proper templates for full string sections, including like violin, viola, cello,
Mm-hmm.
basses, their
Okay.
legatos, staccatos, and all of those articulations in different tracks. Then
Mhm.
comes horns, horn sections. Then comes brass. So all of that. If I need choir, then choir section as well. So all of that is set up in a template. So that I use mostly for just because Indian cinema doesn't need such a huge epic sounding score. I rarely go to that, only when I need it. But mostly I have some other templates as well, which are like much smaller, like
Mhm.
small string sections and brasses and horns and those kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay. No, because you in complete ultimate, you guys we have the classic strings that is there, the
Correct,
hits, all those
correct,
kind of things are there.
correct,
Then
correct.
Viona, all these things. But as in
Right.
a whole, have you tried the? Obviously, I'm sure you've done the
Yes,
complete
yes.
ultimate library. Do you
Right.
keep up to date? Because this is I find it very. I time in time I go and check the website. Kya nikla hai? What is? Do you keep up to date of
I
these
kind of
things?
see. Let me go back a little. So
Hmm.
the idea will be much clearer. I
Okay.
never had these in the initial days.
Hmm.
Initial days, I only had one keyboard that I talked about, which my father gave me, and I carried
Hmm.
it to Mumbai. That
Hmm.
a laptop, and one small M audio sound card. That is all I had. But I
Okay.
always wanted to have a place where, it's my workstation where I will
Hmm.
sit and do all my stuff. I really
Hmm.
don't enjoy much. I see a lot of people who does wonderful things like that, but I am
Hmm.
more of a, like I'll go to a studio and work things out. I see a lot of
Hmm.
people have mobile, like a MacBook Pro,
Hmm.
headphones, and they are scoring for something.
Hmm.
I really don't enjoy. I had to do at a point. I had to
Hmm.
carry around, mobile setups to work, but I
Hmm.
never enjoyed working in a setup like that.
Okay.
I would rather have something which is properly connected, set up in a
Hmm.
nice way, where if I want to play something, particular synth or particular instruments, it's like I don't have to start from plugging things in and setting up signal chains. So everything has to be connected. If an idea comes in, I'll just
Yeah.
send that MIDI signal to that particular instrument, or just pick up an instrument, pick up my melodic and start playing.
Hmm.
It's like that. So
Right. Right.
eventually, slowly, I started gathering each and every instrument. वो धीरे 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 धीरे, like it was very gradual. Like
Okay.
my initially my whatever work I used to do and whatever money that used to come in used to go in upgrading my gear, because I felt that is the best investment I can have being in this
Hmm.
profession.
Correct. Correct. Talking about gear, what is your as in you're running this on a PC or a Mac? This
I'm
whole
running this
setup,
on a PC.
PC, and
I'm
what
running
kind of
this on a PC.
specifications do you have on this one?
So this PC is built by myself only. I only built this.
Okay.
So this is running on a 10th generation i9 900K Intel CPU with 128 gigs of RAM, and it has a graphic card. It has a GTX 1060 graphic card because I don't need much graphics,
Hmm.
and that's that. And it's got some around 14, or I'm not too sure, 14 or 16 terabytes of SSDs. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So it's a
And
fully blown machine, and
mhm.
kind of it's fast enough to get the job done.
Right. I'll just say one thing. Like you said, initial type. What was the first keyboard that you got? By the way, you said with one keyboard you came. What was the keyboard?
That was a Roland Phantom XA, and it's still here with me,
Okay, that's
like
a
running.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, Roland is obviously great.
Yeah,
No, what I'm saying is that see, you have all these stuff in front of you, but wo limitations be I'll say from experience, like I've seen producers producing a lot of stuff, just having a set of cans sitting in front
yeah.
of, say, not even a full blown keyboard. I have this. इसका ही रोमेशन का मेरा लॉन्च की का 25 है like
Mm,
simple, or maybe arteria लेके
mm.
बैठ के they like kind of produce so many things. It's
Like
just
that is still a
like
keyboard. I would say that is still a keyboard.
yeah, that's still you can kind of do. And right now technology
Like
wise,
people use the QWERTY keys of a MacBook Pro to produce music. So
QWERTY keys, yeah, you can anyways do it. And if you see the cog
yeah,
nano, basically if you
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
carry cog nano, you
Right.
have the keyboards, you have the mixers,
Yeah.
everything, you can go for it. It just I think we first need to learn the craft, and then obviously the gear, obviously it comes
Very
in,
important.
it becomes more
Very important.
interesting.
Yeah.
Talking about technicalities, let me ask you, what do you find, like like usage of like kind of loops and sample, what would be your take on those, this, like
Uh,
splice, do you
See,
use splice and all these like as in the loop, how much work do you work as in on loops? And this can you can
very
obviously no
less.
judgment. Okay.
Very
Fair enough.
less. So,
Okay.
but I've heard about Splice, and a lot of people are using Splice, and there are a lot of great things that are available on Splice. So I've heard that it's a great piece of. I mean, now it's a website. It's no more a software. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but since I was in Cubase, see, there's a thing. People who start their music production using Logic. So the
Mm-hmm.
tendency, if you are using Logic, is to go for those Apple loops that are
Right,
readily
man.
available.
It's the
राइट
same.
में विंडो खोलो, उसमें लूप मिल जाएगा, डालो. तो Logic, if you started with Logic, then
Yeah.
that is a natural thing for you to go for that. But
Hmm.
since I have started way back in Cubase, and
Hmm.
Cubase now it has some stuff, but it
Hmm.
never had those kind of stuff back then.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
loops and samples and all of these things are missing.
Yeah.
So since I started from then, I really don't go back to looking for a sample or audio loop uh,
Hmm.
on my window, right wala. So वो हुआ ही नहीं कभी मतलब I did not get
Hmm.
used to the whole fact that I have loops.
Okay.
So
Right.
I mostly generally create, and I feel that's better for me. It works for me. Like a
Hmm.
lot of people, they use samples. Like of course, yeah, a kick sample, a snare sample is great. But
Hmm.
then if you are using logic loops too much, millions of people are using those same
Having
loops,
the
right?
same thing. Right.
Right. So that kind of puts me off a little bit. Like
Hmm.
I'm not too sure if I'm going to use it or not. So since I'm on Cubase, like
Hmm.
that solves the problem.
No, talking about Cubase, like in the early times, Cubase or Nuendo, if you had to kind of bring those loops, you have to physically drag it, then copy it, and then
Right,
you have to
right,
make it
right,
so much
right,
work.
right.
खुद ही बना लेते हैं
Acidize,
कई और
acidize those waves, time sync it,
तो
and a lot of
I
stuff used
have
to go in.
at a point of time I had personally done it, and now when I moved into the Logic, it was like okay, it's so much easier. While I'll say something that obviously it helps because see, you are a keyboardist, right? So
Hmm,
you can play much better. So for a person like say for someone like me, I never started like playing keyboards. It came much later. So for
hmm,
say for people like who are even doing EDM and all that, it's a
hmm.
good reference point. And then even a
Right,
lot of Hollywood producers, they
right,
they start with that, and obviously then you build something upon it.
right.
I think
Like I would
that
say, it
is
is great for inspiration. Like if you're
hmm,
looking for a particular,
something to
like
kind of
you want a funk kind of a guitar,
hmm,
something like that, where like you have to call a guitar player, a musician, and get him recorded. Then also
hmm,
translating the whole idea to him or her, it takes a lot
hmm,
of time, and at times, uh, because you are going through that process, the initial idea kind of gets lost somewhere.
hmm.
So
That
logic library kind of helps in that. Like if you are looking for something, anything which is like plus minus here and there, you can just grab it, put it as a reference, and keep it
yeah.
till the time you are getting it recorded or produce it
Similarly,
later.
like on the website like Splice and everything, just kind of gets you started. Also, I'll ask you something on this. K, how do you approach? Say you got a mm, say composition. Okay, you've been given
Mhm.
uh whatever description, ke aisa kuch chahiye or whatever. How you generally approach a composition, or what is your general approach? How do you start it? Do you just kind of record a melody first, or how do you kind of if you can give an example of also something you've done, and how was that kind of created, how you kind of generally go by.
So here there are two things.
Hmm.
Uh, One is compositional work as in songs, and the
Hmm.
second is compositional work as in scores.
Hmm.
Since I do both, the approach is different on these cases. Where songs, like I'm talking about Bollywood Hindi film industry songs.
Hmm.
So uh, I would say for scores, it is like there's a saying for carpenters, like measure twice and cut once. So there's this thing. So for any kind of composition,
Mhm.
measuring twice is very important. And what I mean by measuring is like
Mhm.
when the client, I mean, if it's a director or a producer or whoever is giving you the job,
Mhm.
you have to listen to that person very carefully. Very carefully, as in what exactly that person is trying to achieve through uh, that song. So, how I generally uh, put it is like if a director is making a film,
Mhm.
so what happens? The film is the director's baby,
Mhm.
correct? And
Right.
I am the music teacher of that baby. So, I should not try to be the father of the child. My job
Right.
is to teach music to the baby. So the
Mhm.
director is already the father. So I have to
Mhm.
listen to the father very nicely, very
Mhm.
precisely, key exactly what is he trying to achieve in a particular scene. So
Right.
here, listen to him over and over again, have
Mhm.
a chat, and then if you come up with a piece of score,
Mhm.
so that measure twice and cut once. Most
Right.
of the time, I have seen that on the first go, it works.
Okay.
So I have had problems with not getting one scene done for months, like it's
Mhm.
not working. And then there
Mhm.
are pieces which fly off because while scoring for that particular scene, I know like there are times while scoring, you laugh, you cry, and those emotions, you know
Mhm.
that yes, this is working. So that is very important. So that is the
Okay.
part in scoring. And songs is completely different because songs uh, nowadays lip sync songs are getting rarer by the day, I guess.
Mhm.
It's mostly situational.
Mhm.
So in that case, what I do is I try to compose a song
Mhm.
completely without playing any instrument. So if I'm making a song, I just hear the brief, I listen to the brief, what exactly is wanted, what kind of genre is needed, like a sad song, a wedding song, uh,
Mhm.
you know, someone's just fallen in love, someone has just had a breakup, someone
Mhm.
has lost someone from his family. So these kind of things, someone is
Mhm.
getting a like an item song, whatever, like a
Mhm.
club song, a party song, this
Mhm.
kind of brief, so that eventually gets you into the feel that you know what kind of music is required, what are you going for.
Mhm.
So you kind of start hearing a final sound that you want to achieve.
Mhm.
So, and I don't play, I like don't plonk on keyboards or strum a guitar and then start composing, because what I feel is uh, I'm not a maestro level musician, I'm a limited musician.
Mhm.
So what happens is, where does a composition come from? A composition comes from 1950s Madan Mohan, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, Bappi
Mhm.
Lahiri, R.D. Burman, mixed with Symphony X, Dream Theater, mixed with Chick Corea, mixed with Deep
Mhm.
Purple, mixed with, so all of that, all you have heard all your life,
Mhm.
it's an amalgamation of all of that.
Right.
So you'll see there are a lot of times uh, there's a song, a Hindi song, which sounds exactly like some other song from somewhere else. That's a
Mhm.
different. We are not going to discuss about that. That's a different thing.
Mhm.
But
Right.
there are certain songs where you'll see that अरे ये कोरस लाइन का लास्ट लाइन कहीं तो सुना लग रहा है, या फिर ये अंतरे का जो सेकंड लाइन था, this
Mhm.
somewhere I've heard it. So why does that happen? Because what you are composing is your TB worth of storage that
Mhm.
you have heard all your life.
Mhm.
It's a combination. It's an algorithm. That is what I believe, that it's an algorithm where it's a mix and match of all of that you have heard all your life is coming out as compositions.
Right.
So and by saying that, I'm not trying to say that you are supposed to just pick up lines from some song and just put it. It's not that. But eventually you'll see that why do people say that you have to hear lots of music from like the other parts of the world,
Hmm.
and like Amit Datta, Mr. Amit Datta used to say something like, if you are practicing, practice for an hour, but before, listen to music for 2 3 hours, then practice for an hour. That's going to make a lot of difference. So I've heard him say that to his students, and it's a beautiful idea. Like when you are well heard, when your exposure is great, then your
Hmm.
improvisation will be much better than, like most who have not heard a lot.
Right.
So these kind of things. So song composition is like that. Then with why I was saying ki, I don't want to play an instrument while composing, because that I think will kind of limit me. Like I'll play a chord and then eventually move to some other chord, and my composition will automatically flow into that. So
Hmm.
I tend to compose free. Then later I come to the studio, record whatever I've composed, and
Hmm.
then try and figure out what kind of arrangements and what is going to happen with the song.
Okay. I think that's a very, very unique way of kind of looking into it and working towards it. That's great. So what happens? I'll give you a trick question in this case. So what happens? Say I'm sure you've met some clients or something like that. आके बोलते के say वो हैंस जिमर वाला डिग वाला ट्रैक काइंड ऑफ चाहिए मुझको आके बोल देता है कि ऐसा ही चाहिए एंड fair enough, they are spending the money. So
Hmm.
like there has been like I know for a fact there are multiple people, they'll just give a reference, इसका similarity करके ये करो. In those cases, how do you tackle it? How do you kind of go for it when a specific reference has been given? मुझको ऐसा ही चाहिए, इसका version, as in it should not be a copy of it, the instrumentation should be like that, feel वैसा
Hmm.
होना चाहिए, like
Hmm.
something like that. Has it happened? I'm sure it
Right.
has happened with you. You obviously. So in those cases, what do you do? Like,
So
hmm,
on that, I would like to say this situation where
hmm,
I was scoring for something, and
hmm,
there was a scene between this couple, and one was leaving the country, so they were kind of breaking up. And
hmm,
at the same space, I got two references. References, as in someone from the direction team also has multiple people, right? Creative
hmm,
director, a director.
hmm,
So one guy told me that ये जगह ना वो जा सिमरन जा जी ले अपनी जिंदगी, and
hmm,
very emotional type music is
hmm,
required at this scene.
hmm.
While the other guy, and that was the time when Interstellar just released.
Okay.
So his idea was यहाँ पे just because you mentioned Hans Zimmer, this came to my mind. So he was like यहाँ पे Interstellar जैसा कुछ होनी चाहिए. Like you know
Okay.
how. So initially, because it's hard work, like what we do, it's difficult. Like we
Hmm,
slog for like prolonged hours.
hmm,
So वो टाइम नहीं होता है कभी कभी कि like someone gave you a brief, so now I'll sit and think like जा सिमरन जा जी ले अपनी जिंदगी and Interstellar, what is the common point? Like if you draw a Venn diagram like that, what is the common point, um, that this also has, that also has? तो इतना सोचने का टाइम नहीं मिलता है. You
right.
just
Right.
get angry and start cussing like ये क्या आपने ये बोल इसने ये बोल रहा है आप ये बोल रहे हो यार क्या चल रहा है यहाँ पे. So but then if you realize there will be some
Hmm.
common point. Maybe
Yeah.
they are not musicians. They are not trying to throw you off. They
Hmm.
are trying to explain it in their own way.
वो
Like
फील
if
चाहिए
right.
काइंड ऑफ.
So it can be that they are just talking about strings. They don't
हम्म.
know कि ये टा रा 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 ये क्या
हम्म.
है instrument. They don't know that. So maybe
हम्म.
Interstellar, though that particular scene had a lot of string sections playing in, while
हम्म.
Dilwale Dulhaniya also had that. So they
हम्म.
must be talking about something to do with strings playing, like like really emotional string swells are required. So I'm sure
हम्म.
I'm just trying to. That might not be the case also, but I'm just trying
नहीं.
to justify the situation. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. ठीक है, good way to kind of handling that. What I'll say is that those happens, and like a lot of like what happens is that कि this type में ऐसा ही चाहिए ऐसा ही तो we have seen it, so that's the
Right.
reason I kind of wanted to ask you. Talking about, we have talked about so much music and all these stuff. What are your current projects right now that you're working on, or what recent projects have you worked on? I know for a fact we were discussing in offline, but just if we could go through what are the stuff that is coming out or recently have come out.
Yeah. So I just scored and did a couple of songs for a film called Friday, and it released on Amazon Prime on 22nd of December. So that was my last release. And currently I'm working on two other films and a couple of songs from them as well. So basically, all these films they have a couple of songs and of course the score.
Okay. Okay. So in this one, I saw the director and writer is Shorab Shukla, right? In,
Yes, yes,
in this one. So how was
yes.
that experience working
It's
with him?
great. It's great. He has like you'll see a lot of pictures of us
Mm-hmm.
because we have been working since the last 5 years. I have worked on multiple projects with him. He
Mm-hmm.
has become like family, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
He is like family. He and his wife Barnali, both of them. I work with
Mm-hmm.
both of them. They both are. Barnali is also filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
So mm, both of them like they are wonderful people, wonderful human beings.
Okay.
Like they have become like family. So I'm working on multiple projects. I have worked on a few. Couple of
Mm-hmm.
them are yet to release, and I'm working on a couple more projects with them, which will be released eventually, maybe later this year or next year, something like that.
Okay. Okay. So all the best for that. And also, do you, apart from this film music or the commercial stuff that you do for ads and all these things, do you plan to do anything for your own solo, like not writing for film or not writing for some other thing? As a solo artist, I saw your YouTube, that is there you have done a tribute on Satyajit Ray Wala. You have kind of done, and I saw the music that you had done
Right,
on your YouTube.
right.
So similar to that, do you like plan to release any material on your own, or are you not getting time? I'm just, हो ही सकता है, so I'm just asking.
So see, I have uh like quite a few songs ready
Mhm.
to release, but then what happens is when you are working day and night for clients, yeah,
Mhm.
your own work gets kind of takes a back seat. So that's not supposed to happen. That should not happen, I would say.
Mhm.
But then kahin na kahin, back of your mind, you're like, ठीक है, वो तो there's no deadline for that, so I'll do it.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
eventually 3 years passes, and you're like,
हाँ,
अरे ये गाना तो 4 साल पुराना है. But
right,
but I'm doing that. Uh, there's a song that's due release on 6th of Jan. It's a
okay,
Bengali song. It's a Bengali
okay,
song called Chol Palai.
Okay.
So I've composed and sung that, did the music production as well. It's a Bengali song.
Okay.
So these kind
Okay.
of stuff, I guess I'll keep doing. I'll definitely do whenever I get time. I really enjoy doing these things. So
Okay.
whenever I get time, I get on to, like, I start doing my own thing.
Good
I
stuff.
hope that
Yeah.
this year I'll be able to release quite a few songs, like on my own,
Sure.
other than.
Sure. Looking forward to that kind of
Thank
coming
you.
up 6 Jan. So today is second. So
6 Jan.
this week only.
Today's second, yeah.
So
This
you
week
have a
only.
video or something on that, or just releasing the
So
music?
I'll release the song on the 6th, and maybe 4 5 days later, I'll release a
Hmm.
video of that.
No, okay. Great idea. I was not aware of that. Good. All the best for that.
Thank you so
And
much.
you're welcome. So you've worked both in Kolkata. You have worked in Bombay. Obviously,
Hmm.
the time difference. Obviously, you worked at a early stage of your life in Calcutta, and then you've moved to Bombay. Like
Hmm.
in terms of the music scene and like work culture, what kind of differences have you seen? Any differences? If yes, like what changes did you feel in the work culture when you have gone into then Bombay and worked?
Uh, this is not a diplomatic answer, but
Hmm.
I am not the best person to answer that question. Only because
Hmm.
uh, I never actually worked in the Kolkata film industry, I
Oh,
would say. So
okay.
if I would have done that, it would have
Hmm.
been easier for me to say.
Hmm.
But what happened is actually, uh,
Hmm.
at that point of time when I came to Mumbai,
Hmm.
Bangla band music was the mainstream music at that point of
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So Bengali TV channels and all of, I mean, Shongit Bangla, and there was Before You music,
Hmm.
and all of those music channels used to show Bangla band videos a lot. Like that was the
Right.
mainstream at that point of time. Eventually, when 2009 I came to Mumbai,
Hmm.
I saw that a lot of my you know mm, fellow bandmates and musicians, they started getting into composing and producing music for films. So that is
Right.
something I never had the opportunity to do. So I won't be able to tell you exactly how the work culture is different, but whatever little I can tell you is, uh, Mumbai wants things to be precise, tailored, ironed,
Hmm.
mastered,
Hmm.
and like yesterday. They want it yesterday. So it's like that. So
Okay.
it's fast, like really fast, at times overwhelmingly fast, I would say.
Okay. One more interesting project that you had is, that Ori plus Jora Juri. How did that happen? Could you kind of tell? It was very interesting. We heard about
Yes,
it. Yeah. So
yes.
if you
So
could enumerate a bit more about that.
yeah, I'm still looking forward to the second season of it.
Hmm.
Hopefully, we are going into the second season also.
Hmm.
So that happened one fine day. This guy, who's like an elder brother to me, uh,
Hmm.
his name is Pothikrit Shengupta, and
Okay.
apparently I didn't realize he was one of the makers, one of the ideators of Bande Mataram as well. So later
Okay.
on, when he told me about it, I was like, "This is fantastic!" Like I really uh,
Hmm.
liked the fact that he kind of followed me up from there.
Hmm.
So he called me that, you are a composer in Mumbai, so we are doing this show in kind of a Coke Studio format where
Hmm.
we are looking forward to 8 or 10 composers
Hmm.
doing like a fusion between, like, picking up a folk song and
Hmm.
adding your own composition to it. It's kind of that. It's like the flavor is like that. So will you be
Hmm.
interested? So I was like, of course I'll be interested. And eventually we made a song. The
Hmm.
song is Jura Juri. So the start of it
Hmm.
is like it starts with a Shambolpuri folk music,
Hmm.
and then eventually gets into like that song was a mix of Shambolpuri folk, a Hindi and a Bengali song all coming together. So the Hindi and Bengali parts are mine,
Hmm.
and there was a rap part also which I
Rap
kind of
part.
did in
Very
between. Yeah,
interesting. Good,
yeah.
good, good stuff. So, do we expect in your upcoming जो song आ रहा है on 6 उसमें भी rap आ रहा है या उसमें just गाना है as
नहीं
in
नहीं, just song, just
just
song.
song? Okay,
It's a
fair.
song. It's a nice pop song basically.
It's a pop song. Okay. So
Yeah.
talking about that, so what kind of music are, if I may ask, what kind of music are you listening to nowadays? What apart from work related music, let's kind of put like personal taste of music where it's the direction heading to.
Um, I would say that I mostly listen to work-related music only
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So what happens is if I'm at my leisure, like
Hmm.
I'm in a vacation, and then I like to go back to my English music that I used to hear back in the day. But
Hmm.
other than that, I now really don't choose to hear a particular music. So
Hmm.
I go to Spotify or Apple Music and start playing playlists. So
Hmm.
if I'm if I want to hear the like how you say it, like the top 100 of this week, or
Hmm.
so I choose my playlists to
Hmm.
be like that,
Hmm.
just to get an idea of what kind of, because I what I feel is the international pop scene
Hmm.
now is getting very interesting. It's getting
Hmm.
the good part of it is they are becoming very minimal.
Hmm.
So I like that part, that being minimal but being, you know, fat and wholesome is something which is great for uh, as in music as a whole.
Hmm.
So I kind of listen to playlists a lot. Like
Okay.
sometimes, even if Bollywood, like with work, the whole point is we are always listening to music. So it's like how
Right.
others say that I listen to music while working.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
So that doesn't happen with us. We are,
Right.
we are,
That's the reason
we,
I said work apart from work related
so,
music.
so our ears get kind of fatigued after
Right.
the whole days of work. So when I'm driving back home,
Hmm.
if at all I'm up to it, I play a playlist. And really, speaking like that, I don't go for good music, bad music, or this is a genre I don't like. That is a
Hmm.
genre that doesn't work for me. I don't understand this. I listen to everything. I try to
Hmm.
listen to everything. There are things that initially is not kind of palatable for me, but every song has something or the other which will intrigue and interest you, like a
Hmm.
particular sound or a particular way of getting into the chorus or something like that. Everything is interesting. So if to kind of get a feel towards it, try to grow a feel towards it is
Hmm.
what works, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. So Protijyoti, you have got a like what should I say? Very interesting journey, very long journey that you have had from here to there. That is there. So say if someone, okay, say someone who is just starting out, okay, maybe a college kid who might be
Mm-hmm.
seeing this video or maybe listening to the podcast, they want to start out, okay, and they want to make a career out of music and
Mm-hmm.
maybe use your whatever the path that you have taken as a reference. What would be advice to a new person that who wants to get in full time as a say a music composer or music producer,
Mhm.
director, what would you
Mhm.
be your advice to a person getting into this field?
I would say, like, as such, advice to nahi hai. Each has their own way of getting into this and eventually making things work. It's not like a one size fits all.
Hmm.
So for everyone, it's different. Like when I came in, things were completely different because there was this 5 7 big composers who had their people working for them. There was no OTT platforms. There was no only the big guys were doing ads. So
Hmm.
the industry was pretty closed. So I had to bang a lot of doors, knock on a lot of doors, and eventually did whatever I could. But now the music industry in Mumbai has opened up quite a bit. So there are a lot of people, new young people who
Hmm.
are doing fabulous work. So that is there. Like OTT, they kind of want younger people to come and work on, like, even if it's acting or singing or making music, they
Hmm.
entertain new people, new musicians, and all of that. So the only thing that I can say is, uh, if you have a dream, you are not getting it tomorrow or day after. It's a
Hmm.
process.
Hmm.
And what are you going to do through that process is just work on your craft, like improve it on a daily basis. Working on your craft, there is no second to that. You listen to music,
Hmm.
you read articles, you read about music production, learn about music production, and technology on music production is changing every day.
Hmm.
You are used to something last week, something new has come up this week. So, keeping yourself up to date, watching YouTube videos, learning about a particular, like certain things, I would say, like there are a lot of people who want to have a lot of plugins, have a lot of software, have a lot of instruments,
Hmm.
but learning one instrument fully is much better than having 10 instruments and using thoda thoda of everyone.
Hmm.
So that is very important, that whatever little you have, make full use of it, learn how to use it fully, and those are just parts of building your craft, practicing. So
Okay.
that is the only thing I would say. Like, keep going at it, like better yourself every day, even if it's in a small way. Learn something new before you go to sleep. That is what, like, that is not, I'm not being trying to be preachy about it.
Hmm.
I do that. Like, however late I go to my home, go back to my home, there are, like, throughout the day I get YouTube notifications, and if there are certain things about music production that I feel is important, I put it to watch later. And the first thing I go back home and I do is, like, you can do it anytime, like eating food, uh, like wherever, in the washroom. You can just, before you go to bed, just watch those things, learn, practice. That's all. Like, that's how you are going to be better at your job.
Okay.
And of course, another thing that I would, of course, mention is
Hmm.
health. That is something, is taking care of your health is very necessary, because the kind of work we do, health kind of is, it's not only backseat, it goes to the last seat, the last thing
Hmm.
you think about. So that is not something you should do, because eventually, if you are healthy, then you'll be able to work. You can be able to pull off late hours, long hours, and basically you'll meet your deadlines much in a much better way if you take care of your health. Very important.
Right. I think that the
So
last part
these
was
are the advices.
yeah, last part was very very important for folks, because younger folks,
Yeah, yeah.
they won't keep their health in mind till something major happens later,
Right.
and then it's like
Right.
kind of too late.
Same with me.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
okay, like
Learned it the
that
hard
is
way.
okay. We all do somewhere or the other. We all kind of, learn. But yeah, so do you consider yourself as a disciplined person? May I ask? Do you consider yourself as a disciplined person, or you're more of
Yeah,
go with the flow?
mm, it was like a crossfade. I was a go with the flow, and
Hmm.
then there was a long crossfade between go with the flow and then I got disciplined. So
Okay.
getting disciplined, like I was always disciplined as far as my work is concerned,
Hmm.
but uh, personally, I was like I used to work late hours, then party, then sleep
Hmm.
less, then come back to
Hmm.
work. So work was something I never, uh, that was not a second choice. That was my first choice always. So I kind of beat myself up so that even after partying, I have to reach for work and I have to deliver what I am doing, what
Hmm.
I'm supposed to deliver. So that kind of takes a toll on your health. So
Right.
then you understand that it's kind of, you have to strike a balance. It's kind of a thing like you cannot pull off extreme hours and then drink and party and sleep
Hmm.
less and then kind of lose it at the end. That shouldn't happen.
And expect the same kind of productivity the next day, and it's not
Absolutely.
going to not
Absolutely.
going to happen.
Like
So, do you have
when
any?
you're young, it's
Hmm.
fine, but
Hmm.
on the wrong side of 30, then you're jacked.
So, do you have any routines that you follow now that you have crossfaded into this side of being disciplined? Like generally, any morning routines you have, evening routines, any schedule? Because I generally, for myself, I like to keep things very scheduled. So I always ask people, do you
Right.
have any routine or anything?
See, I have routines like I get up, I do my stuff at home, eat
Hmm.
breakfast, take a bath, come to studio. So I reach studio by 11 every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
And leaving the studio kind of varies depending on how much work or if I have a client meeting or a presentation for something, I have a
Hmm.
sitting or anything of that sort. It depends on that. But mostly by 10, I am back home. By 10,
Okay.
11, I try to get back home. And there are, of course, situations where I go back home at 4 o'clock in the next morning. So that is also there. But
Okay.
mostly, I try to keep it this way.
Okay. Okay. Where is your studio located, by the way, in Bombay?
This
Which
is
side?
Andheri West, 7 bungalows.
And घर कहाँ पे है? How far is your home? I just asked because
Five, yeah, yeah. It's 5 kilometers
uh,
from here. I
five
stay in
kilometers.
Goregaon West. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I remember my studio used to be in Khar West, and I used to live in Santa Cruz East. So at night we
Uh,
used to, and that point of time, we were just getting with, just interning for Ram at that point of time. And if we didn't get
mhm.
anything, we had to walk by. उस time उतना पैसा नहीं था. So, anyways,
Correct, correct.
good. We have
I've done that as
almost.
well.
That's the reason asked. Uh, we have almost come, to the end of the show. So I will ask you. I want to end this with asking you one final question. We learned about your journey. We got to hear about the projects, how we got to hear you play some stuff. But I really wanted to ask you that, do you have any specific a message for say the folks who are watching this, or any specific message which you want to share with your say your friends, your fans, which you want to say before signing off from the show?
Hmm. I don't know. Like, mm, I
2024 आ
guess.
गया है. So,
Wait. I don't know. I guess I'm not in a place. I'm still. Uh, Again, मैं किसी को कुछ. I would not advise people. I would rather kind of let them know of certain things that needs to be taken care of. तो वो क्योंकि मैं भी I am also the person who's still working towards
right,
their goal. So
right.
yeah, so I would say that again, what I said earlier also,
Mhm.
that working on your craft, being better at what you do every
Right.
day, little by little, that is what will take you where you want to go. Basically, that is what will make you reach your goal. So because what happens is there are point of time that when you see that whatever you're doing is pretty much nice, like everyone is liking it, and वो होता है ना कि हाँ अभी तो मेरे को आता है, that uh, that should not happen. That is where you get stuck, and then eventually you'll see that you are still there while the world has moved on.
Mhm.
So that is not a good place to be in, and just keep learning, keep working hard. मतलब तुमसे 10 होता है, 12 करने की कोशिश करो, थोड़ा थोड़ा स्ट्रेच करके, like then it slowly becomes your habit. Like
Mhm.
if you feel that today I'll learn something new, the first 10 days, a month will be weird, like आज मन नहीं कर रहा है कुछ देखने को या whatever, but eventually that will become your habit. Like you will be like, नहीं, I'll go home and these things are important, वो देख के ही मैं सोने जाऊंगा.
Mhm.
So it helps you. Like there are so many things. Like I've learned things from a YouTube channel which has some 2000 subscribers,
Mhm.
and I have come to the studio the next day and applied what I've learned, certain techniques on like how to send reverb delays to a particular vocal track. So I do the same, and it's like a eureka moment for me. And I've learned that from a guy who's sitting in his chota sa setup, making a video maybe from his phone with a 2000 subscriber YouTube channel. So it is like that if you find something interesting, get deep into it.
Mhm.
Point wahi hai, like, and if it's specific about Bollywood, Hindi film music industry, then what I would like to say is, see, here Bollywood is called as a genre, right?
Mhm.
But you will see that there's a vastness that it has. There are jazz songs, there are blues songs, there are hip hop songs, there are trap songs, there are reggaeton songs, there are Punjabi songs. So what if tomorrow a Punjabi song come to you? You
Mhm.
cannot sit and start learning how a Punjabi song works, how to compose it, or what kind of elements goes into that. Or maybe tomorrow there is some song which has like how South में वो बजता है ना दिन चक्कर चक dig. So those kind of grooves, if you don't have those groove, you have to create it, right? So
Mhm.
how to produce a beat like that? वो काम जब आ जाएगा, then if you sit and learn how to do that, will be difficult for you. So
Right.
these kind of things, learning how to produce, EDM, everyone produces EDM, and like producing EDM is much easier, I would say, because it's the whole idea of there's a lot of technicalities in designing. But
Mhm.
the whole thing is the groove is like, kick snare, kick snare, kick snare, four on floor kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of designing process goes on with side chaining and glitching and chopping. A lot of those are there. But when it comes to Indian music, working in the film industry, I think knowing how to do most of the things is uh, very much required. Like, there will be a guitar patch, but you have to play it on your
Mm-hmm.
keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
But then you cannot chomp chords on a guitar with your keyboard, right? You have to play it in a certain way where it sounds like a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you'll get the guitar recorded, but to make a demo track or do sort
Reference
uh,
fee.
references, so knowing how to do all of those things are all part of music production. So learning the DAW that you are going to use. So all of these are part of music production. So there's a lot to learn before you can even start. So doing all of those things धीरे धीरे छोटा छोटा करके is, I think, uh, very important. That needs to be done by
Yeah.
youngsters. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, music production is a vast field. Even the top bosses, they are also learning something new, and every day,
Absolutely.
new technology is coming, and a lot of new things are there. So yeah, that's great advice. So thanks, Protijyoti, kind of for taking the time and coming on the show. It was wonderful, kind of having a chat with you on this, and we got to learn so many things. All the best for whatever upcoming projects that you're having, and we will surely keep in touch. Thanks once
Sure,
again for
sure.
coming on this. It was wonderful having you. Okay,
Thanks to you. Thank
chalo,
you so
chalo.
much for having me on board. Thank you so much.
Thanks, chalo, Protijyoti. Take care.